Captain Leo Armin stared out of the viewing window of the interstellar shuttle, his fingers tapping lightly against the smooth metal surface. Below him, the planet Zithera glimmered like a jewel against the blackness of space. Sprawling cities, of silver and blue spiraling towers and glowing highways stretched across the surface. It was nothing like Earth, yet Leo felt a strange sense of calm. He had trained for this moment his entire life, and now, the first human cadet in the Galactic Union was about to take his first step into a world of alien intelligence, strange customs, and unimaginable challenges. The shuttle's doors hissed open as Leo stepped onto the landing platform. A wave of cool, scented air greeted him. The aroma was foreign, a mix of mineral and ozone, and he breathed it in deeply. Around him, cadets of every imaginable species moved with purpose. Some had 6 arms, others no legs at all but floated, effortlessly above the ground. Colors of skin varied from deep violet to shimmering silver. Many eyes blinked at him curiously, or perhaps suspiciously. "Human cadet," a deep voice rumbled. Leo turned to see his assigned instructor, a towering being with 4 arms and green scaled skin. Its eyes were golden and intelligent, yet cold. "I am Xyler. You will follow me. The Academy does not tolerate weakness." Leo nodded. "Understood, sir." He tried to keep his voice calm, though his heart beat a little faster than usual. The Academy itself was a marvel. Massive structures curved and twisted in impossible geometries, corridors bending in ways that seemed to defy gravity. Hollow displays floated in midair, showing training schedules, tactical simulations, and information about the galaxy. Cadets moved between training halls, each one carrying tools, weapons, or devices far beyond anything Leo had seen. Xyler led Leo through the corridors. "You will be tested in ways you cannot imagine. The first week is merely preparation. Do not expect kindness." Leo swallowed but did not speak. Words would not help. Actions would. They arrived at a large training hall, where dozens of cadets were already assembled. Many were engaged in exercises that looked impossible to human eyes, floating midair while juggling objects with telekinetic arms, sprinting across walls, or communicating through flashes of colored light. Leo felt a pang of intimidation but quickly replaced it with focus. "Cadet Armin," Xyler said, "these are your peers. Observe them, learn from them, but do not expect them to teach you." Leo nodded again. He studied the cadets closely. Their movements were precise, almost mechanical, yet instinctive. They relied on the strengths of their species: speed, strength, telepathy. But Leo noticed something else. Some of them hesitated when faced with unexpected changes. They followed patterns, predictable routines, perhaps. He thought, that might be a way to get an edge. The first day began with the assessment of adaptability, a standard test designed to gauge how quickly a cadet could learn new systems. Leo was handed a control panel with symbols he had never seen before. The alien cadets around him seemed to solve it almost instantly, their multi-limbed fingers moving in perfect harmony. Leo paused, studying the panel carefully. He noticed how the symbols repeated in a subtle pattern and realized he could use logic and deduction instead of brute speed. Slowly but surely, he manipulated the controls, testing his hypotheses. By the end of the task, he had completed it. Not the fastest, perhaps, but with precision and minimal errors. The alien instructors, who had been watching from the sidelines, whispered to one another. "Human, unusual," one said. Another shook its head. "He adapts differently. That is, unexpected." After the assessment, the cadets were sent to the physical endurance hall, a place where gravity could be adjusted, obstacles could appear and disappear at will, and environmental conditions could be altered instantly. Leo stepped in cautiously. The alien cadets leapt, floated, or teleported across the challenges effortlessly. Leo's legs burned, his arms ached, but he noticed how obstacles appeared in sequences. By timing his movements and using momentum cleverly, he managed to complete sections that others found difficult. By the end of the day, Leo's body ached in ways it never had before, yet he felt exhilarated. He had survived the first full day, and, more importantly, he had survived in a way no one expected. In the mess hall, cadets ate a meal of nutrient gels, protein cubes, and liquids that changed flavor depending on the drinker. Leo, unfamiliar with alien food, hesitated before trying a small cube that glowed blue. The flavor was sharp, but tolerable. Around him, aliens exchanged strange glances, some smirking at his cautious approach. Leo smiled politely and kept his focus on the conversations. He quickly learned about the alliances, rivalries, and hierarchy of the cadets, information that might become useful later. After the meal, Xyler approached. "Human cadet, you show resilience. That is, good. But remember, a single week is nothing. The trials ahead are harsher, designed to break even the strongest. Do not grow complacent." Leo nodded. "I understand, sir. I'm ready." Xyler studied him for a moment, then gave a low rumble that might have been a sigh. "We shall see." That night, Leo was assigned to a dormitory shared with 3 other cadets. One was a tall, thin alien with translucent skin, another had 6 legs and a voice like chimes, and the third had eyes that glowed in rhythm with its heartbeat. They regarded him with curiosity. "You are human," said the translucent one, its voice soft. "I have never met your kind before. How do you survive on your home planet with only 2 arms?" Leo smiled. "We make do with what we have. Adaptation is key." The alien blinked slowly. "Interesting. You may last longer than most." As Leo lay in his bunk that night, he thought about the week ahead. He knew the aliens would underestimate him, assuming that his human limitations were weaknesses. But he also knew that humans had a different kind of strength: creativity, resilience, and the ability to think in ways others could not predict. If he could combine his determination with careful observation, he might not only survive but also excel. Outside, the stars of Zithra shone like 1,000 watchful eyes. Leo closed his eyes, imagining the days to come. There would be trials, tests, and challenges that might push him to his limits. But he felt ready. He was not just representing Earth. He was showing that humans, though small and inexperienced, in the galactic scale, could hold their own among the stars. Somewhere in the shadows, alien instructors watched the new human cadet closely. They had faced hundreds of cadets before, and yet, something about Leo unsettled them. There was a spark they could not quantify, a way of moving and thinking that defied all their calculations. They would see it soon enough, but for now, they kept silent. And so, the first day ended. For most cadets, it was a test of strength and knowledge. For Leo, it was the beginning of a journey that would challenge every expectation, break old rules, and perhaps, in a quiet way, change the minds of the galaxy's most seasoned instructors. The morning sun of Zithra bathed the academy in a soft, bluish glow, though for many cadets, light was irrelevant. They were already in the training halls, performing exercises that tested every sense, reflex, and skill they possessed. Captain Leo Arman followed the other cadets with careful attention. He felt the ache in his muscles from the previous day, but he welcomed it. Pain was proof of effort, proof of growth. The first challenge of the day was the zero-gravity combat simulation. In a massive circular chamber, cadets floated freely, with walls that could appear or disappear at random intervals. Weapons, blasters, plasma rods, and strange energy nets hovered alongside holographic enemies. Leo's alien peers launched into the arena effortlessly, spinning, dodging, and striking with precision that seemed impossible to human eyes. Leo took a deep breath. "Observe, adapt, and act," he muttered to himself. At first, he drifted cautiously, studying the patterns of the holographic enemies. He noticed how the alien cadets relied heavily on predictable sequences: speed, strength, and telepathy. Most could anticipate a threat only if it followed their expected pattern. Humans, however, thought differently. Leo realized that he could exploit these patterns, move unpredictably, and combine tactics in ways no alien would consider. His first attempt was clumsy. He drifted too close to an energy net, barely dodging its snap, but he learned quickly. Adjusting his angle, He used momentum to spin and glide past enemies, striking when they were least prepared. Slowly, he started gaining ground, clearing areas faster than some of the alien cadets. "Interesting," whispered Xyler from a viewing platform. "The human cadet thinks differently." By the end of the session, Leo was exhausted but accomplished. Not the fastest, not the strongest, but highly effective. His method, careful observation followed by improvisation, set him apart. Next was the alien language drill, a challenge designed to test cognitive flexibility and communication. Cadets were paired with beings whose languages were nearly impossible to understand. Some spoke in musical tones, others in flashing lights, and some in chemical pheromones. Leo's partner, a shimmering being named Vera, communicated through pulses of light. Most cadets tried to mimic the sequences, often failing. Leo, however, noticed a pattern in repetition. He quickly mapped the signals in his mind, associating each pulse with a meaning. Within minutes, he was able to respond coherently. "You learn fast," Vera said, the lights on her body pulsing softly. "I try to observe first, then act," Leo replied, keeping his voice steady despite the rapid mental effort. Some alien cadets whispered among themselves, eyes narrowing. Leo's ability to quickly understand and respond to an alien language was unusual. Most species relied on instinct or long training. Humans relied on pattern recognition and logic. The next test was physical agility in extreme conditions. Cadets were placed in a chamber where gravity could shift from 0 to double. Temperatures changed rapidly, and floors could tilt or vanish at random. Alien cadets were strong, fast, or telekinetic, but each had a weakness. Some couldn't handle sudden gravity changes. Others struggled with speed shifts. Leo's approach was different. Instead of relying on brute strength or speed, he studied the sequence of changes and calculated timing. Using small bursts of energy, he adjusted his movement to conserve strength while avoiding obstacles. When a section tilted suddenly, he used momentum to slide past, landing safely where others stumbled. By the end, he had completed the course not only faster than many cadets but also with minimal strain on his body. The alien instructors exchanged worried glances. Leo's method of thinking was unlike anything they had encountered before. Midday brought the strategy simulation, a test where cadets commanded virtual units in a mock conflict. Alien cadets immediately leveraged their species' strengths, telepathy to predict enemy movements, speed to outmaneuver opponents, and brute force to overwhelm the simulation. Many relied on standard tactics learned over decades. Leo paused, observing the simulation map. He noticed that the virtual enemies were programmed to counter predictable moves, a detail other cadets ignored. Using a combination of feints, unexpected maneuvers, and timing, he outsmarted the simulation, completing the mission in record time. Some alien cadets stared in disbelief as their usual strategies failed spectacularly. "Unpredictable," muttered one instructor. "He does not follow protocol." "That is not troubling." By the late afternoon, Leo faced the trial of balance, a grueling test of endurance. Cadets had to maintain stability on narrow, floating platforms while managing external forces like wind, shifting gravity, and weight-bearing tasks. Alien cadets floated or leapt with ease, but their reliance on instinct caused mistakes when unpredictable changes occurred. Leo observed carefully, noting the speed and direction of each shift. He moved deliberately, adjusting weight, timing jumps, and using momentum to his advantage. When a platform tilted suddenly, he pushed against it, spinning gracefully to the next position. By the end, he completed the trial without a single major slip, a rare feat among cadets. When the day ended, cadets returned to the dormitory. Leo's body ached, but he felt stronger than ever. He had not only survived but had impressed and unsettled the instructors. Word of his performance spread quietly through the academy. In the evening, Xyler approached him in the training hall. "Cadet Armand, your methods are unusual. You rely not on raw strength or instinct, but on observation, calculation, and creativity. This is rare among all species. Most would have failed by now, but understand this. The challenges ahead will be harsher. They will test not just body and mind but spirit. Do not grow complacent. I understand, sir, Leo replied. I will do my best. Xyler studied him for a long moment, golden eyes narrowing. We shall see. You are not like the others, human. That is both your strength and your danger. Later that night, Leo sat alone in his bunk, reflecting on the day. He had faced trials that tested speed, strength, intellect, and coordination, yet he had survived through adaptation and observation, qualities that set humans apart. He realized that alien cadets were trained to follow patterns while he thrived in the unexpected. Somewhere in the shadows, the alien instructors discussed quietly. He completed tasks that would challenge the top cadets, one said. Yet, he does not even follow our strategies. This is unprecedented, another replied. Yes, but observe carefully. His creativity is unpredictable. It may work for now, but it could disrupt standard protocols in future trials. Leo, unaware of the growing tension among the instructors, focused instead on the lessons learned. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, including tests designed to push cadets to exhaustion and beyond. But he felt ready. Humans were not always the strongest or fastest, but they could adapt, improvise, and endure, qualities that often gave them an unexpected advantage. As the moon of Zithera rose over the academy, casting long shadows across the complex, Leo closed his eyes. In the quiet of the dormitory, he felt a growing sense of determination. The week was just beginning, and he intended to prove that humanity could not only survive in the galaxy, but stand out among the stars. And somewhere high above the training halls, alien instructors watched closely, their expressions a mix of admiration and concern. This human cadet was already defying expectations, and no one could predict just how far he might go. The third day at Zithera Academy began with a sense of tension that Leo had never seen before. The alien instructors moved with more caution, their eyes lingering on him longer than usual. Cadets whispered behind their backs, glancing at the human who had already impressed and unsettled the faculty. Leo felt a small thrill. He had learned quickly that in this academy, observation could be as powerful as strength. Today's trial was unlike anything he had faced before. It was called the Trial of Shadows, a simulation designed to test creativity, teamwork, and the ability to survive unpredictable threats. The room was massive, a spherical chamber filled with floating platforms, holographic obstacles, and hidden traps that could appear without warning. The cadets were instructed to navigate through the environment to reach a central control core, all while avoiding dangers and completing objective tasks. Xyler's 4 golden eyes locked on Leo as he spoke. Cadets, the Trial of Shadows is meant to test your limits. Many have failed, some have not returned intact. Use your skills wisely. Human cadet, your uniqueness will be observed carefully. Leo nodded silently. There was no time to be intimidated. Failure was not an option. The trial began. The chamber shifted instantly. Platforms rose and fell. Walls appeared and vanished, and holographic sentries patrolled key areas. Alien cadets launched immediately, using brute force or telepathy to anticipate traps. Leo floated cautiously, observing. He noticed the pattern of sentry movement, the timing of disappearing platforms, and the locations where traps were likely to appear. The first trap came suddenly. A platform vanished beneath his feet. Leo's body reacted instantly. He twisted in midair, pushing against a nearby wall to launch himself to the next surface. Other cadets fell briefly, scrambling to recover. Leo's quick thinking earned him the first small advantage. As he progressed, the trial required more than just agility. Holographic energy barriers blocked paths, requiring cadets to solve puzzles to deactivate them. Alien cadets often tried brute force or relied on telepathy to manipulate the barriers. Leo approached differently. He examined the symbols on the barriers, recognized a repeating sequence, and pressed controls in a logical order. The barrier deactivated smoothly, surprising even the instructors. Impressive, Xyler murmured, his tone betraying both admiration and concern. The trial became more dangerous as Leo advanced. Some platforms emitted pulses of energy that could knock cadets off balance. Others rotated unpredictably, making timing critical. Alien cadets struggled when the environment changed suddenly, but Leo adapted on the fly, predicting shifts before they happened. He noticed small cues in the walls and floors, slight vibrations and energy fluctuations that hinted at the next challenge. By combining careful observation with rapid improvisation, he moved through areas that left others trapped or exhausted. Halfway through, Leo encountered a group of alien cadets caught in a trap, a room filling with simulated plasma. Most of them panicked, unsure how to escape. Leo's instincts kicked in. He analyzed the situation quickly, noticed weak points in the plasma containment field and directed them to safety. "Move this way," he shouted, pointing. "Use the vents to bypass the trap." The aliens hesitated, but Leo's calm confidence gave them the courage to follow. Together they navigated the room safely. The instructors observed silently, some exchanging uneasy glances. The human was not just surviving, he was leading. By the time Leo reached the final section, the trial had transformed into a gauntlet of constantly changing obstacles, holographic enemies, and energy barriers. Alien cadets relied heavily on instinct and brute force, often failing when situations deviated from the expected pattern. Leo, however, thought several steps ahead, predicting the environment and moving with a combination of logic and intuition. The last challenge was the control core, protected by a complex puzzle, combining logic, timing, and dexterity. Alien cadets struggled, pressing sequences in order, hoping for success. Leo stepped forward calmly. He recalled the patterns from earlier barriers, the timing of energy pulses, and the behavior of sentries. Carefully, he manipulated the controls in a precise sequence. The core unlocked with a soft hum signaling completion. He had done it. Not only had he reached the core, but he had also assisted other cadets along the way, ensuring they completed the trial as well. Most alien instructors had never seen a cadet perform with such efficiency and foresight. Zyler's gaze hardened. "Human cadet, you have completed the trial of shadows. Your performance is beyond expectation, yet it is also concerning. You do not follow our standard methods, making your success unpredictable." Leo nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. "I observed, analyzed, and adapted, sir. That is how I succeed," the instructors murmured among themselves. One said, "This human uses creativity and intuition in ways our species cannot anticipate. It is remarkable." Another added, "Remarkable, yes, but dangerous. His methods do not align with our protocols. What if his unpredictability becomes a liability?" Leo didn't know he had unsettled them further. He only knew that today, he had proven something important, not just to the instructors but to himself. Humans could endure, adapt, and think in ways others might overlook. After the trial, cadets returned to the dormitory exhausted but exhilarated. Alien cadets whispered nervously about Leo's performance, some admiring him, others resentful. "He's fast, yes, but he doesn't follow the rules," said a six-limbed cadet, its voice trembling with irritation. Leo smiled politely. "Sometimes rules are only helpful if they fit the situation," he said calmly, lying down in his bunk. His body ached from constant movement, but his mind buzzed with ideas. He realized that alien instructors expected predictability. Humans could turn that expectation into an advantage. In the quiet of the night, Leo reflected on what he had learned. Observation and analysis were powerful, but so were intuition and creativity. By combining all three, he could tackle challenges that no alien cadet might imagine possible. He also understood that his performance had started to unsettle the instructors. They were used to controlling the outcomes, but he had introduced unpredictability. Zyler watched from above in the observation deck, his multiple eyes reflecting the chamber lights. "He thinks differently. This is not a weakness, yet it defies all calculations. We must monitor him closely. The human cadet may change the dynamics of the academy entirely." Leo's confidence grew, not from pride, but from understanding his unique strengths. He had navigated the trial of shadows with success, saving others and proving that humans could excel through adaptability. The week was far from over, and he knew that new challenges awaited. But for the first time, he felt the thrill of showing the galaxy that Earth was not to be underestimated. Even as he drifted into sleep, his mind was alive with ideas for tomorrow. New strategies, new approaches, and the unspoken promise of surprising everyone once again. By the fourth day at Zithera Academy, the air was thick with tension. Cadets moved with purpose, their expressions serious. Whispers of the human cadet, Captain Leo Arman, spread quietly through the halls. He had survived the first 3 days, with remarkable skill and ingenuity, completing every test in ways alien instructors had never seen before. Some cadets admired him, others regarded him with suspicion, and instructors were openly anxious about his unpredictability. Today's DE&I challenge was the ultimate team simulation, a trial designed to test cadets' ability to work together under pressure. The scenario was simple in description but complex in execution. Defend a vital space station from a simulated enemy fleet. Each cadet would command units, manage resources, and coordinate attacks with others. Success required coordination, strategy, and adaptability. Leo's team consisted of cadets from 3 different species: Vera, the translucent light-pulsing alien; Tarak, a 6-legged warrior known for speed and brute strength; and Clith, a floating cadet with psychic abilities. Each was skilled, but their approaches clashed. Tarak wanted direct attacks. Clith relied on psychic prediction. Vera preferred subtle, calculated maneuvers. Chaos was inevitable. Leo studied his team carefully. He noticed their strengths and weaknesses, and in his mind, he began crafting a strategy that leveraged each cadet's abilities while compensating for their shortcomings. He spoke calmly. Tarak, you handle the front lines. Clith, scan for enemy movements and warn us of danger. Vera, stay behind and control defensive systems. I'll coordinate from the center, adjusting our moves as the situation changes. The other cadets blinked in surprise. They were not used to someone taking command so calmly, especially a human. But something in Leo's voice inspired confidence. Slowly they nodded, trusting him enough to follow. The simulation began. Holographic. Enemy ships surged toward the station, launching waves of attacks. Tarak leapt into action, striking aggressively but nearly missed an ambush. Leo shouted instructions, directing Tarak to adjust his approach. Clith sent psychic warnings, which Leo interpreted quickly, coordinating movements with Vera to redirect. Defenses. The simulation shifted unpredictably. Enemy ships teleported, energy fields appeared without warning, and sections of the station became temporarily inaccessible. Alien cadets around the academy watched, murmuring in disbelief. Leo remained calm, adjusting tactics on the fly, assigning roles as needed and improvising new strategies. At one point, a massive energy wave threatened to destroy the station's power core. Tarak froze momentarily, unsure how to react. Leo acted instantly. Vera, redirect the energy to the side shields. Clith, stabilize the platform with psychic pulses. Tarak, brace the front. The combined efforts worked. The station survived and enemy ships were neutralized in a coordinated counterattack. Every cadet on Leo's team had a role, and every role was perfectly executed. Alien instructors whispered among themselves, their faces tense. The human had not only led effectively, but had orchestrated a flawless response to an unpredictable scenario. By the end of the simulation, Leo's team achieved complete success. The instructors called an immediate halt, stepping onto the observation deck. Zyler's golden eyes glimmered with mixed emotions. "Cadet Arman," he said, voice low but commanding, "you have completed the ultimate team simulation. Not only have you succeeded where most cadets would fail, but you have done so using methods that defy all training protocols. Explain yourself." Leo stepped forward, standing tall despite exhaustion. "I observed my team, noted their strengths and weaknesses, and assigned tasks to use their abilities most effectively. I adapted as the situation changed and made sure we worked together rather than against each other. That's all, sir. Zyler's multiple eyes widened slightly. He did not expect a human to describe strategy with such clarity and confidence. Another instructor murmured, "He coordinates like 10 cadets in one. This is unnatural." The other cadets looked at Leo in awe and surprise. Some whispered, "He is brilliant." Others muttered in frustration. He broke all the rules, but still won. Later in the dormitory, Leo reflected on the day's events. The ultimate team simulation had tested not only skill and strength, but also communication, leadership, and adaptability. He had learned that humans had an advantage in thinking flexibly under pressure, an ability that most alien species lacked. Vera approached him, her light pulses softening. "Captain, you lead differently. We are used to following strict protocols, but you think differently." "It works." Leo smiled. "Rules are tools, not chains. If following them limits success, it's better to adapt." Even in their whispers, the alien instructors could not hide their growing unease. "He succeeds without following standard methods. He cannot be predicted," said one. Another replied, "Yes, but it works. Too well. We must consider how this affects the Academy and the Union. Humans are extraordinary." Leo lay down that night, muscles sore and mind alert. He realized that his approach to problem-solving, observing, adapting, and leading, was unlike anything the aliens expected. Each test he completed not only proved his own abilities, but also challenged the long-held beliefs of the Academy. Outside, the Academy glimmered under the twin moons of Zithera. The stars reflected off the towers, casting shadows across the corridors. Instructors gathered in the observation deck, whispering about the human cadet. "He may finish this week unscathed," Zyler said. "But what comes after? His creativity and adaptability are strengths, yes, but they are also unpredictable. We must watch him closely." Leo slept soundly, unaware of the magnitude of his impact. The week was almost over, and the final test remained. But he felt ready. Humans were often underestimated, yet they thrived in situations that others thought impossible. Leo's mind worked constantly, planning strategies, predicting outcomes, and preparing for the next challenge. The ultimate team simulation had been a turning point. It had shown cadets that cooperation under pressure could lead to extraordinary results. It had shown instructors that human ingenuity was a force unlike any other in the galaxy. And it had shown Leo that human adaptability, courage, and creativity could stand against even the most experienced alien minds. Tomorrow would bring the last day of trials, and with it, challenges that would push every cadet to the limit. But Leo was ready. He had faced the impossible before and had succeeded. And as the stars of Zithera twinkled in the night sky, the Academy prepared for the final chapter of the first human cadet's extraordinary week. The 5th day at Zithera Academy dawned quiet and tense. By now, every cadet, instructor, and staff member knew the name Leo Armin. Whispers followed him through the halls, some admiring, some skeptical, and many cautious. Humans were new to the Galactic Union, and Leo's performance had already disrupted expectations. Today, the final set of evaluations awaited him, a combination of endurance tests, advanced strategy simulations, and leadership assessments. Leo walked to the central training hall with steady confidence. Despite sore muscles and fatigue from the past 4 days, he felt ready. Adapt, observe, and lead, he reminded himself. That had been his method all week, and it had served him well. The first challenge was endurance in extreme conditions. The hall had been transformed into a rotating environment that alternated between zero gravity, high gravity, and intense energy storms. Alien cadets struggled to maintain balance and pace, their movements jerky under shifting conditions. Leo, however, moved with careful observation, using the environment's changes to his advantage. He spun gracefully in zero gravity, used energy surges to propel himself, and timed each movement perfectly in high gravity. By the end of the trial, he had completed the course without a major slip, impressing instructors and cadets alike. Next came the Advanced Tactical Simulation, a high-level war game where cadets were divided into opposing forces to capture a strategic outpost. Alien cadets immediately relied on brute strength, telepathy, and instinctive patterns. Leo, however, paused. He studied the field, mapped out enemy behavior, and predicted moves in ways his alien peers did not. He coordinated his unit with precision, combining stealth, timing, and creative maneuvers. The battle was intense. Enemy forces seemed to anticipate standard moves, but Leo's unpredictability turned the tide. He orchestrated ambushes, set decoys, and adjusted plans on the fly. By the end, his team captured the outpost while sustaining minimal losses. Alien instructors exchanged uneasy glances. This human's ability to anticipate, adapt, and improvise was beyond any standard protocol. Finally, the most anticipated evaluation awaited, the leadership assessment. Instructors grouped cadets into teams with mixed species, assigning a mission to negotiate a ceasefire between two hostile factions in a holographic galaxy. Most cadets relied on authority or intimidation, expecting compliance through strength. Leo, however, approached the task differently. He first observed each team member, noting how they communicated and what motivated them. Then he assigned roles based on strengths and weaknesses. He spoke calmly, listening to concerns and adjusting plans as necessary. When a cadet from a hostile faction challenged his decisions, Leo responded with reasoned persuasion, not force. Slowly, the teams began cooperating under his guidance, achieving objectives that seemed impossible at first. Xyler, observing from the deck, could not hide his astonishment. He does not command through fear or dominance. He leads through understanding and adaptation. This is extraordinary. When the final evaluations were complete, the cadets were called to the observation deck for a debriefing session with the instructors. Leo stood among his peers, calm but aware of the eyes watching him. The instructors' expressions were mixed: respect, awe, and a subtle hint of apprehension. "Cadets," Xyler began, voice carrying across the hall. "The past week has tested every one of you to the limit. Most species perform according to expectations, following established protocols and patterns. But one cadet, a human named Leo Armin, has not only survived all trials but excelled beyond all predictions." A ripple of whispers passed through the cadets. Many alien cadets looked at Leo with a mix of admiration and envy. Others muttered under their breath, "He does not follow rules, yet he succeeds." Xyler continued, "Cadet Armin's methods are unlike any we have encountered. He observes, adapts, and improvises in ways that defy our calculations. His creativity, endurance, and leadership are extraordinary. Humanity, it seems, brings a new form of strategy to the Union, one that cannot be fully predicted yet can achieve remarkable outcomes." Leo stood silently, letting the words sink in. He had trained hard, relied on human instincts, and focused on adaptability. He did not seek to impress the instructors. He only sought to do his best. Yet his performance had begun to reshape perceptions about humans in the galaxy. Other instructors spoke next. One said, "Humans may appear weak compared to many species, yet they compensate with ingenuity and intuition. This cadet has shown that humans are not merely survivors. They can be leaders, thinkers, and innovators." Another added, "His methods may be unpredictable, but they are effective. The Union must reconsider how it evaluates human potential." Cadets turned to Leo with newfound respect. Vera approached, light pulses gentle. "Captain, you've changed the way we think about strategy. You inspire confidence." Tarek, who had initially doubted him, nodded slowly. "I thought humans were small and weak, but you have proven strength comes in many forms. Today we see it clearly. Even Clith, the psychic cadet, admitted, "You are different but effective. I will follow your lead if needed." Leo smiled humbly. "I just did what I could. I observed, adapted, and tried to help everyone do their best. That's all." Later, when the cadets were dismissed, Xyler pulled Leo aside. His golden eyes were sharp, but there was a rare softness in his gaze. Cadet Armin, you have completed your first week at Zithera Academy. You have survived and excelled where many aliens fail. Your human perspective, your adaptability, creativity, and resilience has shocked and impressed us all. You may not realize it, but you have changed the expectations for your species in the Galactic Union. Leo nodded. Thank you, sir. I only tried to do my best. Xyler studied him quietly. Your best has proven that humans cannot be underestimated. The galaxy will notice soon enough. As Leo returned to his dormitory, he felt a quiet satisfaction. The week had been exhausting, challenging, and sometimes frightening. Yet he had stood out without compromising who he was. Humans may have been small in size compared to other species, but they had endurance, intelligence, and creativity, traits that could rival and sometimes surpass even the most experienced alien minds. Outside, Zithera's twin moons reflected off the silver towers of the academy. Instructors gathered quietly, debating how to integrate human potential into the curriculum and union strategy. They were wary of unpredictability but could not deny the results. One whispered, "If all humans are like him, the galaxy may never be the same." Leo lay in his bunk that night, exhausted but at peace. He thought about Earth, the friends and family he represented, and the challenges yet to come. He had survived a week that no human had faced before, and in doing so he had proved that humanity could hold its own among the stars. The week was over, but the story was only beginning. Somewhere in the academy, alien cadets would remember the human who succeeded against every expectation. Somewhere in the Union, instructors would rethink strategy and tactics. And somewhere in Leo's heart, the certainty grew that humans had a place in the galaxy, not as weak newcomers, but as adaptable, innovative, and resilient beings capable of shaping the future. And with that, the first human cadet of Zithera Academy had not only completed his week, he had made a statement. Humanity was here, and it was a force to be respected.